Hello everyone, Dr. Vaishali here. Today's topic of discussion is Indian polity and governance. Today's topic is not intended just for law students, but it is meant for UPSC and MPSC candidates. As a UPSC and MPSC candidate, you are required to know lots of things about Indian polity and governance. Then, how do you need to know? You are not supposed to know each and every intricate or minute detail of that subject, but you are required to know enough, and that knowledge has to be very, very accurate. I am a law professor and I have done my PhD and NetSet in law, and I have a very good experience of teaching UPSC and MPSC candidates. Just for the sake of curiosity, I was going through the notes which are meant for MPSC and UPSC students, and I found the meaning of polity which is totally different than the meaning I learned as a law student. Do you know one of the notes provides polity means a type of government which is in between aristocracy and some other form of government. This is wrong. Polity means something different. You need to know this subject thoroughly. Why? Because this subject helps you not only in to get good marks in prelims or the mains, but it helps you to discharge your duties as an IS officer or IPS officer or IFS officer. So let us begin with the subject. First and foremost thing, what is polity? Now, meaning of polity is contextual. It means it depends upon the context in which you are applying polity. Over here, or for us, it means it's a structure of government as provided in the constitution or basic features of government. Like our country, India, is ruled by the concept of rule of law. It is guided by the concept of equality, social and political justice, independence of judiciary. So everything comes under Indian polity. Now, if you use the same word in reference to a school, school polity this year is no actual school but virtual school. So polity changes as per the context. Over here, polity means Indian polity of governance or Indian policy of governance. Now, why this subject is there in your syllabus? First, understand the purpose behind inculcating this subject in your syllabus, and then try to give justice to the subject. This subject helps you to crack the prelims and mains. But apart from that, this subject is needed for every public officer while discharging his duties more and more effectively. It provides overall information about your governmental structure or the policies which are adopted by your government, which is very much essential for a very responsible officer. And that's why this subject is there in your syllabus. So change your approach that you are going to learn this subject because it is going to help you to do your duties effectively, and then focus on this subject. Now, if subject is Indian polity and governance, then why are we learning constitution here? This subject, that is Indian polity, is provided under the Constitution of India. Indian Constitution provides for overall polity of India or how India will get governed. So this entire thing is provided under Indian Constitution, and that's why we are going to study it under the Constitution of India, or the chapter itself is there in the Constitution of India, and that's why we are going to study Indian Constitution here. Now, one thing you should know about Indian Constitution, that in India, Constitution is the supreme document or it is the supreme law. Every other law made by legislature, okay? For example, Indian Penal Code, Code of Criminal Procedure, Properties Act, Company Law, Indian Contract Act, all the acts are below the Constitution. Every law in India has to be in accordance with the Indian Constitution. If it is in accordance with the Constitution, it will be kept. If it is not in accordance with the constitution, it will be deleted or Supreme Court will strike it down. So Indian constitution is the basic or supreme document in India, and entire Indian polity or the system of government and how our country gets governed is provided under the Constitution of India. So in this subject we are going to study Indian Constitution. Now, how much you need to know? You are not supposed to go in each and every detail, like each and every article of the Constitution or each and every case law. What you need to know is what is required. Enough knowledge of every topic and accurate knowledge of every topic. You should know origin of that topic, from where it is borrowed in the Indian Constitution, it is governed under which article, then how it is applied, its practical importance, and then which case law provides for the article. That's it. So we are going to follow this course throughout each and every topic in our syllabus. Now let us begin. Before we begin, we need to understand certain keywords involved in this subject. Now we know what is constitution. It is the supreme law of India, or it is the supreme law of our country. Then after that we need to know what is democracy, or in India which type of democracy. The word democracy has its origin in Greek language. It combines two shorter words, demos, which means whole citizens or citizens living inside a territory, and then kratos means power to rule. So democracy means when people get authority to rule, it is called democracy, right? So there are different types of democracy, like direct democracy and indirect democracy. Direct democracy is where citizens themselves vote for or against specific proposals or law. So they are directly involved in lawmaking, and that is called direct democracy. In India, we have indirect democracy or representative type of democracy, when citizens elect representatives to make laws for them. So in India, citizens elect their representatives and representatives make law for the people, and it is called as indirect democracy. So in India, constitution is the basic document, and we have indirect democracy in India. So after democracy comes the word republic. Now remember one thing, republic is not against democracy, it is supportive of democracy. Republic means for the public, republic. So in democracy, people elect their representatives, and their representatives speak for the people, and that is called republic. So in India, we have indirect democracy, we have republican form of government, and we have constitutional supremacy. Now next thing, in India, we have a parliamentary form of government. There are two major types of government, parliamentary and presidential. In presidential system, president is the head of country. In presidential system, political and administrative powers are divided between the executive, legislature and judicial branches. In parliamentary system, parliament is sovereign and executive is answerable to parliament, and prime minister will be the head of government in parliamentary system, and in presidential system, president will be the head. So before we begin with this subject, you must remember these things. Like in India, first thing, we have constitutional supremacy. Second thing, it is indirect democracy. Third thing, we have a republican form of government, and then we have parliamentary system of government. Coming to Indian Constitution, we need to know some basic features of Indian Constitution. While making Indian Constitution, a committee or assembly called Constituent Assembly was formed, and Constituent Assembly made the Constitution. Chairman of the Constituent Assembly was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and President of the Constituent Assembly was Babu Rajendra Prasad. Constitution of India comprises of 448 articles in 25 parts, 12 schedules and 5 appendices, and 104 amendments happened so far. Originally, our constitution had 395 articles in 22 parts and 8 schedules. As I told you, president of the Constituent Assembly was Rajendra Prasad, Chairman was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and Head of the Drafting Committee was again Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Our constitution provided for certain principles like fundamental rights are provided, fundamental duties are provided there, directive principles are provided there, independence of judiciary is assured by the Indian constitution. It provides for rules relating to citizenship, and then it provides for center and state relations, how India is a federal country. Federal country means power is divided between central government and federal units. As I told you, when Indian constitution was made, help was taken from so many other countries. For example, from US constitution, some provisions are borrowed. From British law, some provisions are borrowed. I will not say British constitution because in Britain there is no constitution. But from British law, we have borrowed so many provisions. French constitution was referred, Canadian constitution was referred, Irish constitution was referred. So the principle federalism is borrowed from US constitution. In India, we have federalism but with unitary inclination. Okay, so you have to remember these certain basic things about Indian polity before we begin with the actual topics one by one. So try to remember these things, and everything which is provided in your subject comes under Indian polity. So it is basically system of your government, what is provided in your constitution. So everything comes under Indian polity. One by one, we are going to learn each and every chapter which is included in this subject. And apart from that, I'll be discussing lots of things relating to general knowledge subject, which is again going to help you to crack your prelims and mains, and even it will prepare you for your interview. So stay tuned till my next lecture. My next lecture is going to be on preamble of the Indian Constitution. So stay tuned. Good luck and goodbye.